Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and it's Wednesday, and actually April 23rd already, and time for our weekly card making lesson. I can't wait to share with you another card using the Woven Texture Suite collection. I did a card for you last week and it really received a lot of positive feedback. So I decided that I would use the other designer series paper that's in this suite and make a fun fold card today. And this fun fold looks very complex, but it's really easy. It's all about just cutting your paper and folding it. And so I can't wait to share that today. I'll just remind you as you are signing on, please share your name and where you're watching from. And if you're on YouTube, please make sure you are in your YouTube account or Google account, and you can use those comments to sign in as well. And if you watch this on replay, use the comments at that time too, because I will watch them even after the broadcast has been completed. Also, if you would subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when I am putting up another free tutorial for you, then you will get notified and you won't miss anything. So anyway, thanks again for joining me, friends. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to put the camera here so that you can see me in the background, but actually see my desktop. And I'll just remind you that for April, the free 4-card tutorial that I'm offering is called Botanical Textures. And it is the suite that I used last week and I'll be using today. And this is a 4-card free tutorial for you that you could use with this suite, or you could use it with any of your own supplies you have at home. But it's 4 card designs, which is what challenges us. And so it always helps to have ideas. And if you buy at least $50 worth of Stampin' Up! Product from Plum Crazy Stamping, I'll be sending this to you in email at the end of the month. The other thing is, don't forget, or if you don't know, today is the first day of 3 days of free shipping from Stampin' Up! Or if you put in an order with Plum Crazy Stamping, Stampin' Up! Is offering the free shipping. What that means is an 11% savings for you. So you can get more product because you're going to save money on the shipping costs. So I hope you'll choose to take advantage of that. And then don't forget the new stamping rewards. So if you spend just $20, now remember it has to be $75 for free shipping, but at $20 you start earning a 10% reward that will be available for you for the next time that you order. So that's a pretty good deal, kind of some compounded savings there. So if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to contact me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Okay, so let me go ahead and set this free tutorial aside, which you also can get your hands on. And let's take just a look at this suite we're going to use. And this is perfect because of the cool designer series paper that I chose to use for this fun fold. Now, this is the one of the 12 by 12 sets in this suite called Botanical Textures. And you will find this in my online store in the online exclusives. It is not in the catalog. So if you like black and white, this is what this whole set of designer series paper is about. And it really gives you a choice of, black and white where you have more white, and black and white where you have more black as the focus. And then we turn it over and it does the same in these floral patterns, some more black and some more white. But these are gorgeous. I could just sit and play with these all day, but I got to do other things too, right? So these are those patterns, okay? So that's the botanical textures. All right, so that's what I used last week. So if you missed the video, go back and look. Today we're going to use the woven textures, which is another 12 by 12. And let's see, we've got all kinds of patterns going on here. And they're in these kind of browns, more crumb cake, pebbled path. But these just jump right out at you, and or they also blend into the background so nicely. So anyway, lots of texture and natural kind of backgrounds. Also, these would be wonderful for masculine cards. I know that can always be somewhat of a challenge for us. And then in that suite as well, which I am going to feature today. So they have a white, let's see, what is this made out of? I don't know if it's white, polyester. And you can color this with your Stampin' Blend so you can make it match anything you want to accent those papers or use with some other designer series paper you might own. They have matte dots, which are kind of the white, black, cream, and more of a brown pecan pie crumb cake kind of thing. So very cool to use with this. A mini corrugated embossing folder. This is really nice. I'll still have to share this with you with another card. I did not do that today. Once again, mini corrugated 3D. Pretty cool. All right, I did use the textured notes in my card today, and this was really fun. And one of the things that I'm going to be sharing in the fun fold is there's 3 sentiments in just one card, and it's so nice that this stamp set has 3 related sentiments that could go right in my card, so it was perfect. And I'm going to use all the stamps in here today except this one. So I'll have to remember next time to feature that. And then this has also this really cool set of rectangles that have multiple frame, what would you call it, kind of designs, and they're all different. So that is really unique. And then there's one for, a long sentiment, which is really nice too. All right, let's take a peek at this card we're going to do. So now this is going to look really complicated, but when I show you how to make it, it's very easy. But you open it up and you see you have the first greeting, then the second, and then you fold this back up and then you open the whole card and you get the inside. So I don't have a name for this fun fold. Maybe 3 times is better than 1. And then this also will be one that would sit up like an easel card, which is really nice. And when you set this up as an easel card, you can see both of those sentiments. And what I like is when you're displaying this, you can put the personal message inside of this flap. And if someone is displaying the card, no one will see what you've written. This can remain more private, but yet they can enjoy the card and be able to share it that way. So let's see. I think I'm missing some folks that have already said hello. So Sue, hello, and Diane, glad to hear you've had a busy morning. Kathy, hi. Betty, and let's see. Yes, and you have to get an order ready for Stamping Up Diane with the free shipping. And paper pumpkins are included. And then free shipping on $75 or more. You got that right, Kathy. And for anybody that's a paper pumpkin member, you can get refills, the add-on die sets, and maybe something else for 75% off for today and tomorrow. So if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you might want to take a peek at my store and look at what's going on with that 75% off. That's really a bargain. All right, let's go ahead and get started on this card. So we're first going to look at all of our parts and pieces. And as I said, this is going to be a lot easier than you think it would be. So, okay, I decided to use pecan pie to back up all of this beautiful texture. And I'm going to just score this at 5.5, okay? So, I'm sorry, 4.25 by 11. This is my cardstock cut the long way in half. So 4.5 by 11, and it's scored at 5.5. All right, so we've got our base. Then we're actually going to have a card front that looks like another card base that's going to go right on top. And this is going to be 4 inches by 9.75. So 4 inches across and then 9.75 inches long. And then I am going to score this at 2.25 and 4.5. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just do the accordion fold on here and press that with my bone folder. So this is the card front with some extra folds. So it's going to go right on the front here. And let's see, I'm going to actually just attach this right away. I'm not going to do any stamping on this part itself. I've got additional pieces that I'll be stamping on. But this is the structure of the card that makes this the easel card and also provides for the different layers. Okay, so I'm going to put this just centered on the front of my card base. Okay, and this is opening from the bottom. Okay, and then my little accordion pleat on this special card front folds out. Okay. And then we're going to, this is the card insert for inside the actual cardstock, but we're going to be stamping on this. So I'm going to just set that aside. And that's my normal 4 by 5.25. 4 by 5.25 for the insert. All right. And then we're going to have 2 other panels that we're going to stamp on. And each of these, I would call them the small card inserts. You know, they're going to be here and here, and they're going to actually end up lining up. So they're the exact same size, and they're 2 5/8 by 4 inches. 2 5/8 by 4 inches, and you need 2 of them. Okay, we'll be stamping on those. Now for the DSP. And as I said, I liked the DSP with this texture because I could pick 3 different textures and get a really unique look on here. So the first largest one is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And I'm just going to get the glue on the back here. So 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And just go ahead and center that. Okay, isn't that pretty on the pecan pie? I really like it with pecan pie. All right, then this is actually just this one. When I cut this out of my 12 by 12 paper, when I had 6 inches, I just cut off the bottom here. And oops, I want to put the glue on this side and get a different, texture on that front side. Okay, now this one is 3 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches. 3 3/4 by 2 inches. So this is like pattern B. pattern A, pattern B. And then I picked a third one, which would be my pattern C of the same designer series paper. And I picked the darkest one because I thought it would kind of offset everything if that were the very front of my card. Because this is the one that once it's folded up shows right from the front. Okay, so we'll just hold that in place a minute. Now, so you can see they're just lined up in the respective sections, and I am lining them up with my score lines. Okay, so there's the whole structure of the card. Then we fold that back up. And then, like I said, we have the card insert, but there's the structure of our card. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to make the 3 pieces that are going to go inside or on top of the card, okay? So let's go ahead, and I'm going to get pecan pie, and I decided that I would make all of my sentiments match with pecan pie. So let's do all 3 of them, and we'll have them all ready. So the first one, I'm going to use the longest sentiment to put inside the card insert. And this is the one that says, "You are seriously the best." I like that sentiment. I haven't seen it before. And I know that my pecan pie is a very wet stamp set. So I am looking at this and being careful of the edges, because when I was making the other card, I had to give my sand eraser a workout because I got a little heavy-handed on the ink. All right, so let's go ahead and just put this up near the top. And we have "You are seriously the best." All right, let's take the next one. Is going to be a little note of appreciation. Here, I can put this right here. I'm just tapping this in here softly and then double checking that I've got good coverage on the whole stamp and I don't have it around the edges. All right, now this one I'm going to put up towards the top because I'm going to be decorating the bottom of these. So let's do a little note of appreciation. There we go. I don't know if that's a little off or not, but you know what? It's art, right? Okay, and let's do "thank you" on the last one, or actually it will be the first one. The front image here. All right, and I'm going to just center that. There we go. Hi, Betty, and hi, Kim. Nice to see you guys. All right, there we go. So we've got our 3 sentiments. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some greenery and some texture and some other colors. So let's start out with doing the card insert again. Now I'm going to pull in some different colors, and here's what I'll show you. So the colors that are in the woven textures, I decided to pick out pecan pie and crumb cake. Now pebbled path and gray granite, I think, were listed as well. I don't know if there was another, but I decided these were going to be my browns. So I'm going to pull the crumb cake in here, and I'm going to use that with a little more texture that I'm going to be adding on. And then I decided I wanted to go into some greens and blues. And I found that pretty peacock and shaded spruce are two tones that are recommended to do together. So those are going to be my green and my blue. Okay. And let's see. So I have both of those two here. And I had another one. If I were to do another tone, I would have used Lost Lagoon, but I ended up stamping off and not using a third color. So that was my decision. But if you wanted a third color, I guess I would bring in Lost Lagoon. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little bit more texture on our different areas. And I liked that this was round. And once again, I have crumb cake here, so a little bit lighter than the pecan pie. And I'm just going to be adding a little here and there off the edges of what I'm doing. I don't think you could see me stamp that bottom one, but there it is. And then, let's see here. I wanted to do a little bit of the same on these. I'm not pressing real hard because I don't want it too dark, but I want it a little darker than what stamping off, stamping off of it would look like. And let's do the other side on this one. Okay, so just adds a little something, something, right? All right, so now let's go with the leaves. So I've got my additional texture. All right, so now let's go from the outside in, and let's take this, and I'm going to open up my pretty peacock. So we've got that, and I'm going to open up my shaded spruce. And my stamp pad is stuck. There we go. All right, and I'm going to start with the front cover. That's thank you. And I am going to feature the larger set of leaves on this branch in shaded spruce. And I'll have to tell you, watching the ends of these leaves are where I found I had trouble stamping this stamp in particular. So I'm just going to double check that, okay? And then I'm going to go up as close to the thank you that I can here and kind of frame it off, the sentiment, okay? I like this sprig of leaves. I don't know what it is. It's like just the right size, just the right number of leaves. I really like it. Now I'm going to add another one of these and put this off to the side just a little bit. Okay. Really like that. All right, then I'm going to just leave that up there. Now I'm going to bring in this next one, and I just want the look that the green leaves are going to be in the foreground, and I'm going to make the pretty peacock be in the background, but I want it to be lighter. So once again, I'm checking these corners here. All right, so I am going to stamp this off first, and then I'm going to put this right in the middle, and then I'm going to do a little stamping from both sides. So I kind of like that there's a little depth there. Okay, so now that one's done. I'll just set it aside. Now we're going to go to the next inside layer, right? And this time I'm going to use the same colors. I'm not switching up the leaves and colors. I'm kind of leaving them the same so there will be some continuity. through the card with the colors of the different branches. So this one, let's bring it up this way. Okay, and then I'm going to do the smaller branch. And this time I am going to do this full strength, and I'm going to do it at a little more half strength too. Okay, so now let me just ink this up, and I'm going to go up there with that at half strength. We'll get the center. And we're going to get off to the side here a little bit. And you know what? I want something right in this edge. I still didn't get that very edge, right in the corner. There we go. Okay, so that has some matching greenery. I'm going to set that off to the side. And now we're going to go ahead and do the inside to create the continuity for the whole card. I'm going to go back to my shaded spruce. And make almost the full set of leaves off to this one side. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my smaller set of leaves. And do one of them full strength. And then just stamp that off and get a little bit of this behind the other side. There. So now we have that part done. I'm going to close up all my ink. All right, and now this is so easy to put together once we have all of our sections stamped. So I'm just going to start with the card insert here. And put this one on. I just think that looks so pretty framed in the pecan pie. Okay, then we're going to center what is the second one right on the top of our folds. So let me get that glued in. Now, if you wanted to layer another piece of pecan pie around this, or maybe even, here's where you could use Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, or that shaded spruce would be gorgeous around here, but this card would be getting thicker. All right, now I'm going to use this as my guide to put on the top of the card. So I'm going to fold up the flaps, and then I'm just going to match this right with the other one. So the second one is invisible back there. And then I'm just going to flip this over, leave it lined up so I know where to put my glue. Okay. Then pick this back up. And once again, line up at the top. And then press down the part with the glue. And then just hold that in place a moment while the glue sets up. It doesn't take a long time. Hi, Kathy. Okay. And then you've got your easel card. and your private message. So with that, I don't know if you have any questions, comments on the project. I will just remind you that tomorrow, and I'm trying to think what time the event is. Let me look here. Tomorrow at 10 in the morning, I'm doing a crop. So there's 2 hours of stamping, but the beginning is a demonstration on how to use your hybrid embossing folders. And I'm going to give you 3 techniques for that. So if you're interested, here on my Facebook page, you can find the registration. And this month it's a deal at $9.95 instead of $14.95. So you may want to join and then have some stamping time with some friends. So, I'm glad that you like the card. Oh, I'm so happy. Good. Well, once again, let me go back here. And if you weren't here in the beginning, just a reminder that free shipping is going on. I'm Stamping Up right now. So if you order at least $75 worth of product, you get to save 11% because that's how much shipping is. And plus you could get the Botanical Textures card tutorial, which is 4 free card designs. And you can also start earning rewards. With the new reward system, you get 10% in rewards to use on your next order whenever you order from Stampin' Up! Now. So, let's see. I don't have anything else to share, but I'm always available at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. Don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything I can do to help you. Otherwise, I hope to see you tomorrow at the Stampin' Crop, or I will see you next week. Take care, friends. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.